All right, everyone, welcome back to the Golf Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam from golfunfiltered.com. Be sure to go and follow us all over social media at Golf Unfiltered. And today we have a very special guest. You may have heard me talk a little bit about this company, Meridian Putters, recently, especially if you follow me on TikTok as well as a few other social outlets. And today we have Ryan Duffey from Meridian Putters. Ryan, I am extremely excited to speak with you about what I think is a diamond in the rough in terms
Oh,
of putter design. Great stuff.
thank you very much. It's great to be with you.
So before we get into not only the putters and the uniqueness that Meridian brings to golf, let us know a little bit about how you got started in the game and at Meridian.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a complicated story, but I'll do my best to boil it down to a few points. In a previous life, I used to do rapid prototyping, plastic. We would machine steel. Sort of a jack of all trades when it came to quick turnaround and prototype work. And one of my customers about 6 or 7 years ago was Nike Golf. And I got to know a couple of the designers at Nike. We did some work with them. Obviously, being a big golfer, that was a great project to work on. And in the middle of our relationship with Nike, they made the decision to get out of the hard goods business. Like literally, we were in the middle of 3 or 4 projects. I get a call one day. All the engineers that I've been working with were like, "You're never going to believe this. We were just let go." And I was like, "Okay, so what does that mean for us?" And they were like, "Yeah, it means it's over. We were literally just fired." So that was that. But I maintained my relationships with those guys over the years. And when COVID hit, I guess it's like 3 years ago now, my business, being the upfront rapid prototyping design stuff, that actually slowed down a bit. So I know there were a lot of guys who were like, when COVID happened, manufacturing was still good. For us, we really slowed down. So I had, for the first time in a couple of years, I had resources, I had time, I had people kind of looking for something to do. And I had steel, I had like stainless steel floating around the shop. And I kind of wanted to get back into the golf world. And in the back of my mind, I was always like, we could make good putters here. We could make, we could create a line of putters with the machines we got, with the people we got. I mean, we've already done like half the work. Now we just need to get some designs, that are feasible and that look nice.
Right.
And so I reached back out to the guys that I used to work with at Nike and said, anybody still designing clubs? Anybody still interested in this? We had a good, rapport. We had a good relationship. This seems like a fun opportunity. And luckily for me, one of the guys, his name is Josh Boggs. He was on board. He joined the team. We came up with 3 or 4 concepts that we liked. We were able to machine them in our shop. We built a quick website, painted some of them red, white, and blue, painted some of them blue and yellow, and we launched it right before the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin. And we just said, "Hey, we got some putters. Take a look at these. They're all milled, one-piece manufactured. There's no welding going on, no casting going on. They're literally just a block of steel that we cut away to a putter." We did a little bit of social media promotion around the Ryder Cup, and we made like 50 putters, and they all sold out. Like literally in 2 days, like they were gone. And so we were like, "Oh, well, that was pretty good reaction. Like that was neat." And so we decided to go forward and do another sale on Black Friday. A couple months later, we were like, "Let's try it again. Let's build up a little bit of inventory and see what happens." And we I don't know, we made like 20 of each version of the putter, and again, we sold out. In fact, we sold more than we had. And I had a
good problem.
Tell my shop and the guys in the shop, "Hey, we gotta make more putters, and less, the other work we were doing." And it was about that point where I realized like we might have like a business here. Like this been really well received. Our price point, our price point's around $250 for a putter that is one piece manufactured, made out of stainless steel, which is a very good price point. I started to think, there might be something here. And so it was after that Black Friday experience, it got into like January of the next year, I decided I wanted to go all in with Meridian. And so we got rid of some of the other machines that we used to have, the plastic, the 3D printing, all that stuff. We we shelved, we sold, we got rid of that business. We shut down our shop in one location. We bought, we got into a new spot, a little bit smaller, about 10,000 square feet in another location. Moved all the stuff, which was a process in and of itself, but created just sort of a solely just strictly manufacturing putter location, and it's been great. We moved last year throughout, I guess, the course of the summer and early fall, and we've now been operational in this new location for just over a year. And yeah, we're growing, and it's been a great experience.
That's an incredible story. I love talking to entrepreneurs and business owners like yourself, learning about how things got started. And it's interesting because we've had a lot of folks on talking about the golf boom during COVID or shortly thereafter. And, so many new players to the game, and everyone's getting interested in equipment. And it's almost like a good problem to have, I would imagine, for people like yourself, where it's like, wait, we have just a rabid fan base or customer base rather, and you're experiencing it with people buying more than you actually had. I mean, is that exciting? Is it scary?
At the time, the first Black Friday sale we did, I remember we built up like 25 of each version. So we have a Charleston, which is sort of our stock blade putter. We have the Oakady putter, which is kind of an old school sweep neck putter. And then we had the Tybee, which is a mid mallet. So we had 3 kind of base models that we were using. And so I made like 25 of each. And I was like, all right, let's see how Black Friday goes. And we said, we'll knock them down, 30% off this weekend. And my buddy, Steve, who's kind of been helping me with the marketing on this, was like, why don't we make the sale go live like the Wednesday before? A lot of guys are doing Black Friday starting before, just while people are at work looking on their phones or whatever. Let's just get the message out there.
Right.
So we did. And it was wild because I was taking my kids to like swim lessons or something on Wednesday night. And like my phone started like ding, every time there's an order, I get an email. So like ding, ding. And it was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is great. And I put the phone down and was like watching my kids, swim back and forth and back and forth. And I come back and it's like 17 new orders. And I was like, oh, fantastic. And then by like midnight, it was like 40 new orders. And I was like, we're going to have enough inventory, right? Like, and all of a sudden, like, we were sold out of the putters we made. Our Black Friday sale, we were sold out Thursday night. We had already sold every putter we made. So I was like, well, we can't take our Black Friday sale off before Black Friday. Like, we got to get through Friday, and then they're like, hey, there's Cyber Monday, and so at first it was really exciting. And then it was like, oh man, how are we going to do all this? And at that point, when it was the fall of that year, so this is again, a couple of years ago, like our other business was kind of like kicking back into gear. And so it was very nerve wracking because I was sitting there going, I don't know how we're going to get all these putters out. And the last thing I want to do is, promise and under deliver. So unfortunately, that Cyber Monday at about noon, we cut it off. We had to mark stuff not for sale because I knew anything beyond this, like I'm not guaranteed to get this out in the next couple of weeks. And so it was a little bit of it was a learning experience. At the same time, it was really exciting. And what it kind of told me was, hey, there's a market for this. Like these are high quality putters at an affordable price point. And, during Black Friday, it's even more affordable. But like what was cool was the market was reacting really well to what we were doing. So I was excited about that. I was, encouraged by that. And, lessons learned, right? Last year during Black Friday, we limited the inventory. So we had a certain amount of putters and we said, while supplies last, there were things we learned from year 1 to year 2. So this year we have a big batch of stuff ready to go. I mean, we're recording this before Black Friday. So we're prepared for what may come using the lessons we learned from those 2 experiences.
Well, and you got to kind of go through that, right? It's the learning as you go along and all that. And I don't have to tell you that by any means, but let's talk a little bit about, well, first of all, you're located in Brookfield, Wisconsin.
Yep.
So I became aware of Meridian through social media and some of my other, golf sicko friends that I talk about equipment about all the time. You're like, hey, have you guys checked out Meridian? And I'm like, let me check this out. So I looked it up. And first of all, I couldn't believe I hadn't heard of you prior to this, being so close in proximity to where I'm sitting right now. But also it's a matter of, wait, you offer milled to order,
Yeah.
which is something that I hadn't seen before. So maybe tell us a little bit about that approach of the customization options.
Yeah. So everything we do, we order, to give you a little look behind the curtain here, when we're making a putter, we start with just a big old slab of 303 stainless steel. So just think of like a big plate of metal and we get that in. And so we can buy that like in bulk, right? And we buy, they call them slabs. We buy multiple plates at the same time. And then we just start basically, we take what's called a wire machine and we wire out what we refer to as a blank. So a size of metal that it's just bigger than, what the putter will end up being. And then we take that piece of metal and based on the order, we'll cut either the Charleston, the Oakady, the Tybee. We actually have another model called the Edisto, which is like a two-way putter. And we will mill all of that in a 5-axis CNC machine. So we will, put it on a fixture and, the drill will go around and it'll hit the top and, all 4 sides. It'll get all 5 sides of the putter besides the face, which is facing down, which is how we fix it. And then depending on the customer order for the face finish, we offer, a fly cut. You can have a smooth face. We also offer a Meridian cut. We flip it over and just, finish it up the last 10% based on what the customer specifies. So, we talk about personalizing your putter, making it kind of unique. We can't, sometimes I'll get people who ask, hey, can I, I want this big, brick looking putter that weighs, 440 grams and center shafted. And, okay, we can't do that. But we have 4 or 5 models that have, each of the 4 models has multiple weights. So you can get, a 330 gram or a 370 gram. Some of them are face balance. So, you start to get into more, specifics, right? And then you can have your different face finishes. You can choose if you want a black shaft or a chrome shaft. You can choose if you want it to be black PVD coated or if you want it oil canned or if you just want it raw. So there's, multiple different options and we can easily offer that type of personalization here because we make everything right here in Brookfield, Wisconsin. Right. So everything is just right in our shop. What we've learned over, the course of the last 3 years, and I kind of knew it, but didn't know it as well, is the bigger guys, the bigger OEMs, they're making volume, right? They're making tons of putters at the same time, and it's harder for them to offer that personalization. Whereas for us, it's really just part of the process. So it's not that hard. So we don't have to charge an arm and a leg for it. We can, if you want something stamped, we can stamp it. If you want your logo engraved, we have a laser machine that can do that. So we try and offer, the ability for the golfer to, build the putter the way they want it. And then, if they want to make it special and unique, you want to put your initials in it, we can do that too. And my ultimate goal is to do this at a price point that is reasonable, right? I see putters out there sometimes where I see a $800 putter or $750 putter. And, I just, obviously there's some brand equity there. There's a lot that goes into pricing these things, but at the end of the day, $800 or $700 for a putter just seems like a lot. And so what we're trying to do is offer a really high quality putter, the ability for our customer to kind of tweak it to make it their own. And to do that at a price where you can feel pretty good about it. Like you can feel like, hey, there's a lot of value here. I'm not sacrificing anything with this price point. And I can feel good. I can save the $500 and man, for $500, you can go play Pebble.
You can, yeah,
or maybe not Pebble. I don't know, but you can play some good golf courses for $500.
You can, yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit. So you guys were kind enough to send me a putter, and this is in my bag now, and it has replaced. I won't say the other brand, but let's just say it's a very well-known brand.
I won't make you do that.
And this is for the viewers on YouTube. This is the gorgeous oil can finish. I went with the Charleston plumber's neck, which is a shape that I prefer. So this is the back there. You can see the Meridian logo, and then on the front you've got the different face options that you had mentioned, and I chose this face. And even the customization with the engraving, so the longitude and latitude at the toe there,
Yeah.
I've joked on social, I'm a big softie. It's where I met my wife. So that's where I put that there. And then, of
Yeah.
course, everyone likes to see the top line as well. So it's a gorgeous putter. And I love the fact that with the customization, you even get down to the alignment aids. You ask, what do you want to see visually? And listeners and viewers, I got to tell you, this putter feels outstanding. It is a soft, muted feel. And the first putt, Ryan, that I hit with it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is going in my bag right now. It's incredible. And to your point, all of this, I mean, this is a putter that would cost easily $500 by a big box brand, easily. And that's not
Yeah.
even counting the customization. You guys offer it for about half that. It's
Yeah.
an incredible deal.
Well, it's the way. So to get into some specifics on your putter, you have what's called the Meridian cut there, and that's a cut that we designed. My goal has been to do this all with one piece of steel, right? So there's obviously, when you're talking about how does the putter feel, right? That's called feedback, or whatever you want to talk about. That particular cut, the Meridian cut, is our softest cut. It removes the most steel that's interacting with the golf ball. So when you hit it, it feels a little bit softer because there's less interaction. B, it sounds softer, and the sound is ultimately, like, you'd be surprised, but sound has more to do with feel than sometimes even feel does, right? 100%. So that's what you have, and we experimented at one point with, like, oh, can we put a polymer insert in there? Can we do something like that? And at the end of the day, we didn't feel like that's not really who we are. That's not what we are right now. So we tried to engineer sort of a softer feel into it. We also offer a fly cut, which is sort of the stock circular cut, that you see on a lot of putters. Then we have the smooth face, which gives the most feedback, feels like the most clicky, if you will.
Right.
And then, we also offer, you can choose that. But then in terms of, like, your alignment, we'll get guys who, like, that putter had the 3 lines. We'll get guys who I just want the one single line, lose the top and the bottom. Okay, we can do that. There are guys who are like, hey, just give me a dot, right? And so we can do that too. So, every once in a while we'll get something out of left field, but we're like, all right, we can, can I get a circle? We've had some weird requests that we try our best to accommodate. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the areas of the putter that you can choose to I guess whatever fit your look or make you feel most comfortable lining the putter up. So yeah. And then in terms of pricing, I've had a lot of people tell me, your putters are, too cheap. You should be charging more. And from the business side of things, I go, yeah, it's tempting to do that. But at the same time, like, that's not the mission here. The mission is to try and make a high quality product and keep it affordable. Now, if you want to add a copper insert and start to go crazy with, a couple different things, there will be additional fees that we gotta, add on there. But my objective with this has always been, I don't understand why putters have gone from $300 was a great putter to now like $700. I see putters from certain OEMs that are even higher than that. And there's a lot of personalization. There's a lot of, one guy working on it for a week, and I get that. But for us, what we're trying to do is, hey, for the guy who's looking for value, the guy who's looking for a high quality putter, I mean, it's 303 stainless steel. It's milled in state-of-the-art 5-axis machines. Our designers have decades of golf club experience. What we're offering is a pretty good product. And again, the price is something that you can feel good about.
Oh, I would say, I'll say it. I know you're being humble, but I would say that this is better than pretty good. I mean, this is an outstanding putter, Ryan. I mean, and I've been telling so many friends of mine about you guys. It's just the customization options that are available, as well as even the stock ones on your website. And by the way, listeners, if you're listening to this, go to meridianputters.com and you can check out everything that we're talking about. The funny thing, or the interesting thing, was whenever I hear customization, and when we started talking a couple weeks ago, Steve and I were chatting about getting you on the podcast and everything. You had a bulk order that you were getting done. Now, do you guys get a lot of bulk? I could imagine like a bachelor party or groomsmen gifts or something like that.
So what we have been doing a lot of is like events. So
Okay.
member guest type events, smaller tournaments, stuff like that. So this fall we've had 3 or 4 events where we've traveled to these shows or we've traveled to these tournaments. We'll throw up our blue tent. We'll go out there and we have sort of a fitting guide where we'll work with somebody on their stroke and they'll say, which one is best for me? And, okay, you have a little bit of an arc in your stroke and you like to feel release. So you're more of, the Okity version. You're straight back and you're straight through. You look more maybe mechanical when you're looking at it. You like lines. So maybe the Tai B's for you. So we'll do these events where we'll fit, 100 or 110 players. And then usually we, for the event, we'll engrave something, the logo of the club or 2023 Invitational, and we'll do stuff like that. So that for us has been our primary, segment of growth. Like that's where we've done, most of our work. Direct to consumer is still very big. And, we're slowly getting into discussions with, the box stores. The problem with, for us, the box stores is they want a pretty big piece of the pie,
They do.
So
they do.
When you start to look at, all right, what's our price point, and then what do they want to take from it? That's a business decision that we're batting around because they want a lot, and so as we're like talking about, it's like, all right, well, part of what we want to do, we want to maintain that price point. We don't want to inflate our pricing so that somebody else can get, their piece. Our objective is to maintain, that affordability.
Which I think is an extremely important goal. That's something that, to your point, and I'll say it too. Big box stores, you are 100% correct. They want a huge chunk of that pie.
It was way bigger than I thought.
It's a lot.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. Are there any plans of, and perhaps you're even already there, of being like a boutique brand offering in select golf courses?
Yeah, so we've had some really cool offering. Sand Valley, which is up north of Madison area, about an hour from here. So we've done some work with them in the past. We'll do a couple of putters, and we'll engrave, a logo or something that's like special to their location. We've done some work with Harbortown down in South Carolina. That's sort of where I came up with this concept. That's why the towns are all located down there. Tybee, Charleston, Okati, all South Carolina / Georgia towns. So yeah, we do. We'll dabble in some of those places. Again, what we've kind of learned is, in terms of from a business discussion, standpoint, a lot of those courses have contracts or have agreements with OEMs to stock certain putters in their putter corral. And so we can't really wiggle our way in there unless we do something sort of unique. Like, all right, let's do a short run of like 4 putters that have these coordinates or 4 putters that reference this cool location. And so then we can get our product in that way. But yeah, there's a lot of connections with the bigger OEMs, with the bigger putter brands and these courses that make it harder for us to kind of play in that game. But like we're finding ways around that.
That's good. And I know that there's a lot of golf courses and GMs that listen to this show, and I'm looking at you, Cog Hill, by the way. They're a sponsor, so I can say whatever I want.
Our big. So we're about to go. We're prepping right now for the PGA show in Orlando, and I guess that's probably about 2 months now. And last year we went there. It was pretty fun. It was our first year actually like in this show, and we had this whole setup. Like, this is how you sell Meridian putters. This is how we're going to get all these guys to sell Meridian putters. And about 10 minutes into the show, we realized there's no consumers here.
There's zero.
So like about 15 minutes in, we got 3 days of this. Like, we got the wrong message, and so we had to pivot, and we started telling everybody, okay, sell the laser, sell the logo, and that's what we started to do. Was we started talking to these guys, and we're like, hey, we can do 120 putters for you. We can do them in like 3 weeks, or we can have putters ready for you for your member guest, for your tournament, for your charity event. you can give this out as a good tea gift. And by the way, the tea gifts are very affordable, right? So you can make it special, you can make it customized, and they're not going to break the bank. And that was the pivot we made last year. This year we're going to be a little bit more focused. But yeah, the PGA show last winter was pretty funny. I mean, like I said, about half an hour into the show, we realized, all of our messaging's wrong. Like it came quick. We were like, oh boy, we're gonna have to be on our feet here. But it was a good experience, and this year we'll be a little more prepared.
Yeah. The PGA show is a trip. I've been there a handful of times, and it is something every time.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a lot of work. I had been there I had gone one or two times just to kind of check it out as I was trying to figure out what this was all about. And it was sort of strange. The years I went were right before COVID and then right after COVID. So we saw like a big crowd and then a smaller crowd. It seemed like last year it got its footing a little bit again. There was a lot of people, still some OEMs, like some of the bigger boys weren't there last year. But yeah, it's definitely, we get so many connections there. We met grip guys there. We met shaft guys there. We met a lot of the people who we had been emailing with or we had been talking to on the phone. We finally met in person, and you can talk 20 minutes and make a lot of progress in a face-to-face, more so than you can in an email or even on the phone. So it was a good experience for us.
Good. Yeah, it's a great networking experience. And for those listeners who have been there, they know exactly what we're talking about for sure. Yep. So I want to talk just real briefly. And once again, folks, we're talking to Ryan Duffey from Meridian Putters. Be sure to go check them out. And I'll throw the website up here again on the screen for our YouTube video viewers. Ryan, as you think ahead, you've got Black Friday coming up. You've got the holidays coming up. What are the things that keep you up at night right now, either in a good way or a bad way regarding Meridian?
There's a lot. We just relaunched our website. So we updated it. We tried to make it more user friendly, tried to make it a little bit more intuitive. When we started this thing, a couple of years ago, we literally just we got to build a website, throw a website up, right? And so there wasn't a lot of strategy that went into it. We tried to kind of tweak it over the course of a couple of years, but then this summer we were like, hey, let's get some nice pictures. Let's get some good video. Let's make this website, an experience that, we're really proud of. And so
sure,
we're still, we launched it like a week ago, and
it looks great, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. We're still tweaking it. There's still every once in a while something pops up where you're like, oh, we got to fix that. So we're kind of going through that. We're about to launch a new putter between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're going to launch a new model. So we're excited about that. We're trying to coordinate, we got some limited run head covers coming. We got some limited, promotional material coming. So trying to get all that in and organize that. So that's kind of front of mind. And then, of course, Black Friday, every once in a while, like you never know what's going to happen. Right. So like last year was funny. We brought all these like head covers in and, we weren't selling any head covers. Like the first couple of days we were like, why are the head covers moving? And then we realized like, oh, the item's not active, on the site, so we're like, oh my God. So, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, why isn't anybody buying these really? And then as soon as we made it active, like, oh, there they go. It was
right. Oh, that's hysterical.
God. So there's always stuff like that. I'm sure. And, I'm sure on Thursday or Friday of Thanksgiving week, something's going to pop into my inbox, and it's just the way it goes. But yeah, I mean, in general, everything is exciting. It's all positive stuff. And yeah, we're just, I'm humbled by the way people have responded. The direct to consumer market's different than what I was used to. So it seeing people like saying, oh, dude, I love the putter. Like, it's great. That makes our day. So no, we're very thankful for where we are, and looking forward to the next couple months.
Yeah, it's a fantastic product, folks. I can't say that highly enough. And I know that we bring a lot of brands on this show, and I know I say, oh, this is a great thing you need to try. Listen, I mean, this replaced the putter in my bag, and it was a putter that I really loved. I mean, this is a fantastic idea, milled to order, customization. Go out and just overload Ryan with orders. So next time he goes to go see his kid, the swim meet, maybe his phone will go off even a little bit more. But once
swim
again,
practices are on Tuesday now.
There you go. MeridianPutters.com. Ryan, this has been great to learn a little bit about Meridian, the origins. I have one putter that will not be the last. I have way too many putters. I have a collection, and I'm gonna be buying more. So that's good.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.